Okay, so today we will discuss regarding the observable and subscribe. Write down. So now see, this side our application is there. Okay, this is our application and this is server. So what will happen? My voice is audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this side application is there and that side server is there. So actually generally what is happening when we running our application, in that application we will get multiple line of code. Just imagine this itself. Anything is there? Yeah. So now see, when we running this application, suppose that what will happen? It will load first. It means it will, then it will enter in the constructor, then it will execute one line, then it will go in the ng on init, then it will load the line, this line of code. Means how the execution is going on line by line. Means now see, suppose we have, this is your line number 1. Okay, then execution of line number 2 will be, then 3rd will be, then 4th. And what will happen on each request? Means this side we are sending the request, correct? So this will be as a request. So be sending request and we are sending request. But what will happen when it will move to the server side? Means this will be like request, and what will happen from that side? Means when the line of execution will complete, means we had requested something x equal to 1, server will do something. Means if server request is there that time, so server will do some process, then it will return. Suppose get method is there, so we are clicking on get. What will happen? It will take each line of the code and then it will give some response. So what happened? We will get one response, correct? So we will get one response from where? We will get from the server. Means we had sent request and from the server side we getting response. This is our response. Means each line of code it going to execute line by line, and where some server request will be there, so on that line we will send a request and we will get the response. Now just look over the code 1 second. So this much request and means a line of execution is there. So on this, so line of execution started. So on line number 1 we got a server request. What means a server request? So let's see. So see here itself. So we had a written product data service, and in this ng on init, when it will come to this line execution ng on init, what happened? Here we are getting one service call. Means it will move to the service file, this method, and inside this method, let it to be this one. Suppose this one get data. So what happened? It will move to the get data, and inside get data it will execute this return this dot movie whatever is there. Just take one server one. Wait, I think inside this it have to fetch URL. Yeah. So now see, somebody will call this method get data by UID. Let me check who is go to reference. Yeah. So here see how you can go. Means suppose you know that this method we are using somewhere. Okay, and how we can reach, because when we pressing control we are coming back to this method from the means from the component. But how you will go back means reverse order, how you will go back from this method on the component where you had used this method. So what you can do, you can right click on this one, and here you will get go to references or go to implementations. Okay, so you go to references, then it will show you on which method means on which component you are using this method. Now see it blinking here, means we had used that service method on this one. So what happened, we will run this file. On the running of this file we will get one by one execution. This line will execute, then it will move to the constructor, then some service, this all will get execute one by one, then it will move to the ng on init, then it will move to the get all data. And what happened inside get all data, now you can see inside get all data, what is there, this dot means it will execute line by line. So what it getting here, this dot http work service. Okay, dot get get call data, means some method is there, get all data. Then what happen, it will move to this method. Okay, and in this method what happen, get all data, inside this it will execute. Then here we getting the return, and on the return we getting this dot http. And what means this one, http client, correct, we are referring http client. So what happened, line by line execution started, it got some service call, it came in the service, inside service it getting this dot http, means it referring to the http client. So it got up to http client. After this http client, what will happen, so up to here what happened, and after that here we getting some service server method like a get. So on this url it will take the request, means so it had requested this dot url. Okay, so now it will go for this url as a request. It will go to the server, it will do some process whatever they have to do, it will do that. And after that what happened, with the help of http it's doing these all process, because here we are using this dot http client, its variable is like http, means we are doing http client. And after this, once the server request got success, this got a success, server request, I not speaking regarding the response. So once the server request will got success, then what will happen, it will take that response whatever success response, and it will come with which one, response. Okay, it will give to the response, because your application is waiting for the response and this will come as a response. So after what happen, after some time it will give you response. Now so this going to give you, this will take as a means this has gone with the request and it will come with the response. So that's why what we are doing, we had given the response, so your response is coming. Okay, if the response is coming, now your application want that response. Now tell me how you will pass the response to the application. Means this become your return method, this become your return. Now what happened, it returning who had called, means now in service, one second let me write here, here request has gone, who is sending this request, go to reference or implementation. So who had sent this request, get all data, sorry. Yeah, so who had sent this request, this get all data, this side component side. Okay, so component, this component this complete line of code, they had sent the request. Means we can tell simply get all data had sent the request. This had sent a request. Okay, but once we sent the request, after some time a response came back. Now tell me how this method who had sent a request, how they will receive the response. Means one more time I will explain. So due to this, here HTTP client, with the help of HTTP client, we had taken the get method, and now this all gone to the server and taken some done some activity. After some time, it came back with a response. Now tell me how we going to receive the response. Anyone?
Sir, using subscribe method, sir.
Subscribe method, correct. So what happened, we had returned the data, whatever response means these all. First, while going it was as a request, while returning it become a response. So now it become the response, and in place of this complete, now what is this is as a response, correct, because previously it was as a request. After some time it had worked, it had done some activity, and it came back with some result. So those as a response. So now this complete become as a response. And the method which had called, which one, this method get all data, who had called to that method, what it will do, it will return the response. Okay, so now, so what happened up to here, up to here it was as a request. So after that, for the response, because now what is happening, this become a response, it's coming from the service, so completely become as acting as a response. So now the response we are using that response with the help of the subscribe. This all are comes under the subscribe. So with the help of subscribe method, we are going to take the response and then we can use it. Okay, so inside this is like callback method and different thing, arrow function and those, that's another thing, but main thing is the subscribe method. Okay, so with the help of subscribe, what we are doing, we are receiving the response. So keep in mind, when you getting that question anywhere, that how we can get the response. So with the help of subscribe method, we can get the response. So now just you can now think, so in your application, what we are doing, we are subscribing, we are using the subscribe method. For what purpose? For getting the response. Up to here, is it clear what is process is going on and how it's working? Second thing, actually on each request and response, what will happen? So here we are sending one request, here one observable will be, here one observable. What means observable? Observable going to observe. Okay, what it will do, it will observe your each request and response. On which side? Server side. Got it? Means on server side, observable will observe your each request and response as like a guard. Okay, what they are doing, you will enter in the company, you will enter in the office, so guard will observe you that you are entering, then you coming back, you had scanned the ID card, like this type of activity guard is observing. Same type, so same type observable will also observe each request and response. Now maybe, then what is the need of observation? Means we can tell that what is the need, why it is observing, because maybe some request, all request will not means, suppose we had sent the request number one, it gone and it came back with the response suddenly within few millisecond. But suppose that we had sent the request number two, okay, and we suppose that on request number two we are searching someone, means we are searching some data, searching some data, okay, and that is also by name, suppose that, and maybe in the database that name is not available, or maybe double name is available, or maybe some other problem. So on that time, maybe it will take more time. Okay. So for observing purpose, we are putting there observable. So what we can do and how we are putting observable, we can see that. And so for that time means that time what will happen, it going to stop that request. Now just imagine one thing. In JavaScript, we know that line by line execution will be. Now just think, on the request number second, it had gone to the server, but it not came back with the response within 1 second or within 1 minute. Means within 1 minute also, it had not came back with the response. Now you can imagine, if this response not came back, then what you thinking? Request number three means line number three code, will that execute?
Yes,
How?
because in between observer will observe these things. So and after
Uh,
that it will be line number three. It will be send the request. Send the request.
Okay. See, if observable is not there, suppose that, just imagine observable is not there. Okay. Means there is no any observable, subscribe is there, who going to subscribe our method. So in this situation, what happened? The line number two, it's taking 1 minute or more than 2 minutes, means for the response. So meanwhile, your next line of code will not execute because it is waiting for the execution of the line number two. So once line number two will get execute, then only line number three will get a chance. And after three, then only the line number four will get chance, because JavaScript code going to execute line by line. Okay. So that purpose means, now what is the problem? Now just imagine, if it taking more and more number of time, then we can't get the execution of line number three. So in that situation, what we are doing, we are putting this observable. Okay. And observable will, what it will do, it will monitor on each request and each request and response. Okay. It will monitor each request and response, and it will not wait for this. Means if it is taking more a number of time, or either more or less, that's not the another, that's not the matter. It's not waiting for your request and response. It will send the request, but it will not wait for response. It will move to the next request, then it will move to the next request. Meanwhile, when it moving to the next request, suppose that time itself, means a journey while moving from 1 2 3 4, suppose that time itself someone had given the response. So what it will take, it will take the response and it will come back with our application side, and it will pass who had called. Got it? So this type observable and subscribe is working. Means it will not wait for your response. It will continue process. As like suppose we have to go for, we going to market for shopping purpose. Okay. Meanwhile of the means meanwhile of the market, we have to do 3 or 4 tasks. Like suppose that we have to take milk, we have to take, suppose that vegetable, suppose we have to go for the shopping of that dresses also. So what we can do, we gone in the milk shopkeeper. Okay. Milk shop, there suppose that milk is not available, what you can do, you will not wait there, you will move to the next, suppose that vegetable shop. So you will move to the vegetable shop, and you suppose that vegetable is also not available, you will not wait there, you will move to the next. Once when you coming back, what you will do, you will take the vegetable, then you will take the milk, and then you will come back. Like this type you will continue, means you are not stopping for one purpose. Like if you have to take milk, you are not stopping there for collecting milk, you are moving on, you performing the next task, and then when you coming back, you getting the response. So that time only you are taking, you are coming back, and meanwhile mean of the journey, what you are doing, you are collecting the response. So that our observable will do. So observable and subscribe. So what is subscribe? Subscribe is going to take the response, and observable will observe on each one. Okay. Once request will response will come, it will inform to the thread who is means who is doing that all activity. It will inform, and that object then it will going to subscribe the method. It's already subscribing. So once you giving the response, it will subscribe that. Had you got the idea how that observable and subscribe is working? and how
Yes,
that
sir.
application is working with the server request and response. Anyone having doubt?
For
Can
me,
clear.
no doubt, sir.
Okay, Praful,
Sir,
Roshan, Shivani.
where right,
Yeah,
sir, observable?
yeah, wait. We will do that. Okay. So now write down. Just make this picture. Okay. On this diagram, just give some request like 1, 2, 3, 4 numbering order wise. And on some, you can give that request and response. Wait. Otherwise, let me clean this. This is your application. Now draw the diagram. Your server.
Sir,
Hmm.
could you show horizontal line for response also?
Yeah. Means on each, not on each line, where we will show that server request and response. 1 second. Wait, I will remove this actually. And in the middle here, that observable will be.
Observable. Yes.
Pass this observable. And this observable, and this observable will work with which one? HTTP. HTTP means we are generally telling HTTP, but we know that HTTP client we are importing, module we are importing. So overall, it considering HTTP. Okay. So suppose line number 3, this is your here some server request. Suppose here some server request code is there. Server request code. So now we got the server request code. So what we want? We want a response also. So this become your response. And how we are using that response with a subscribe. Okay. So suppose line number 3, it's taking more time. So in that situation, what will happen? Observable will not stop. It will continue the work, but it will move to the next line of execution. Draw the diagram, then we will write some theory. Once you will done, just tell me.
Sir, completed, sir.
Others done.
Yes.
Okay. First, write down the reactive programming. Give the heading reactive programming. I will note down here. Reactive programming. Yeah, write down. Reactive programming is mute. Who is on unmute? Reactive programming is an asynchronous program. Reactive programming is an asynchronous program. Asynchronous program that 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 deal with that deal with data stream that deal with data stream it using observable it using that makes it using observable that makes makes it easier that makes it easier that makes it easier. Just 1 second. That makes it easier to compose that makes it easier to compose asynchronous asynchronous or or callback or callback based code. Asynchronous or callback based code. Next line. It mainly deals with it mainly deals with more than one event. It mainly deals with more than one event and and those event and those event happens in a and those event happens in a sequence over time. Those events happen in a sequence over time. Sequence over time. What do you understand from this one? Anyone? Just explain me this line first. Then we will move next. Praful?
Yes, sir. Means event means it's while performing the action of response. Then it will means one event can be completed. It will
Yeah.
means not a time taken. It will continuously means next line can be work.
Okay. And this reactive program, what you understand from reactive program? See what we had written. Reactive program is a asynchronous program. Now, what is asynchronous program? What means asynchronous? Already
Yes, sir. Means asynchronous means it will be time taken. Means it will be uh, means time taken means it will performing the action of waiting purpose.
wait. Asynchronous already we had learned in the JavaScript. That is same as that same asynchronous. So how you will explain this in interview? Because these all are interview question. Okay. If you're telling what is reactive program, suddenly you will use the word asynchronous. They will ask the next question. What is asynchronous? So what is asynchronous? Already you had all had attended the interview. What means asynchronous? What is happening actually in asynchronous case? Whether thread is stopping or not. No idea. So asynchronous means thread will not stop. If thread is not stopping, means what is happening? Multiple programming means multiple function is running in the parallel. Got it? A means one is asynchronous and another is synchronous. Means asynchronous means negative is there. Okay. So means not means thread will not stop. Synchronous means thread will stop. Okay. So in synchronous case, synchronous not a. Okay. Synchronous. So thread will not thread will stop there. It means suppose that line number 3 request had gone, it taking suppose 2 minutes. What will happen? Thread will stop there. It will not continue the same thread. It will wait for the response. Then only it will move to the next. In this case, what is happening? Thread is stopping. What means thread? We are performing all the task with some thread for the communication. With the help of thread only, we are communicating for each task, each event. Okay. So on the line number 3, suppose we had sent the request and for getting the response, it's taking a lot of time. Suppose just imagine 2 minutes. So in that case, what happened? Thread get a stop. So if thread get a stop, line number 4 will not execute. It will wait. If suppose after 1 minute you got the response, then only line number 4 will execute. Just imagine registration page. You had designed one registration page. You submitted the data. You doing some server side app activity like saving the data in the database. So just imagine if your data gone for the saving purpose in database and due to some issue, maybe database connectivity or network slowness or something, what happened? It not it saving the data, but it's taking a lot of time. Then what will happen? The server means the thread line number 3 where the request you had sent. So on that line number 3, that thread will means stop for the response because it will wait for the response. And once it will get the response, then only it will move to the line number 4. In which case? In the case of the synchronous. But what we are telling that in a reactive program, this reactive programming is working on the asynchronous task. Means thread will not stop. Means now just imagine asynchronous. So server request will go to the line number 3. Line number 3, server request gone. Now your server, your database side, it's taking a lot of time. It will not wait for the response. It will move to the line number 4 because we are working with asynchronous task. Thread is not going to stop. Means it will not wait. But how you will get that information that your data got success, whether success or failure? So with the help of the observable, it will inform you that you got the response. Take this. Means observable have no idea whether you got success or error, whatever is there. So once you will get the response, you will use that with the help of subscribe method. Then only you will got that whether you had received that is a response or whether that is a error. Got it? So what happened? Asynchronous. Keep in mind these all word actually. Asynchronous, synchronous. These all are a lot of means too much important. Synchronous. Then asynchronous. Asynchronous. So with which we are dealing in the observable case. In the reactive programming, we are dealing with the asynchronous task. Okay, and same thing we are dealing here also, because we told that don't stop the thread. It is not going to stop the thread. It is going to continue. And once your response will come back, this will intimate to the thread. Then because we are working with asynchronous, so then synchronous means that the thread will get information that some response came, so it will take the response. But in the case of synchronous, it will stop the thread. Got it? Now write down next line. If you want, you can note down synchronous and asynchronous also. If you understand the definition, you can write. If not, then tell me. I will dictate you as your wish. Written synchronous, asynchronous definition also, or you
Sir,
want?
one. Yeah, sir.
Okay, right. Write down asynchronous. Add a. Just give as a hint here a, and here write not, not not. Okay, in front of a. So now write down in asynchronous multiple event slash function, multiple event slash function, multiple event slash function is running in parallelly, is running in parallelly, is running in parallelly. Next line in same. In asynchronous, in asynchronous, in asynchronous, thread will not stop. In asynchronous, thread will not stop. Thread will not stop for the response purpose. Thread will not stop for the response purpose. Thread will not stop for the response purpose. It will continue. It will continue. It will continue. Perform. It will continue. Perform the next activity. It will continue perform the next activity. Next activity. Got it? That's it. In synchronous, now write down this synchronous case. Write down synchronous. So in synchronous, thread will stop. Thread will stop. Thread will stop and thread will stop and wait for. Thread will stop. Thread will stop and wait. WAIT and wait for response. Wait for response from the server and wait for response from the server. Wait for response from the server. Then only, then only, then only it will move to, then only it will move to next step. Then only it will move to next step. Complete. Just 1 second. Where is the desktop? Okay. So now next line. Okay, write down the explanation of this complete execution, whatever we had drawn. So write down, program is executing. Program explanation of this complete diagram actually. Okay, you can give the heading explanation of the application and server communication. Explanation of application and server communication. Give this one as a heading, explanation of application and server communication. Given this heading, can we move?
Yes.
Okay, write down, program is executing. Program is executing from top to bottom. Already we know that in JavaScript, execution is from the top to bottom, line by line. Same thing we'll be writing. Program is executing from top to bottom at a certain line. At certain line, means suppose just imagine here line number 3. At certain line, server request is written. At certain line, server request is written. So suppose line number 3, server request is there. So now after
Server request.
yeah, server request is written. Means a server request is there. Server request code is there. The same thing. Server request is written. After executing, after executing, after executing, first and second, after executing, first, second, after executing, first, second, at fifth, at third line, at third line, at third line, application will pause. At third line, application will pause. Application will pause and request will reach server. Request will reach to server. Request will reach to server and it will and it will wait for response and it will wait for response. After response only, after response only, after response only, application will execute. Application will execute. Okay, just read this line, whatever we had written just now. Just read this. I will give 1 minute. Then you have just explain me what you had written. You will get clarity over this diagram. We will write somewhat more, but just read that. Once you read, once you understand, just explain me. Done.
Hello, Sharon.
Yeah, yeah,
These things you explain without observable.
yeah. That's
Yes.
Because see, in JavaScript we know that line by line execution is there. So just imagine there is no observable, nothing is there. Line by line execution is going on. So
Yes.
in
On that
that case,
scenario. Yes.
yeah. So what will happen? The problem, we had written that a program is executing from top to bottom. Execution will start from the top to bottom. At certain line, some server request is written. As like line number 3, some get method is there. So what will happen? At line number 3 means there is no observable. Just imagine the scene. There is no observable case. Just a normal, simply JavaScript scenario. So on this, we are getting here get method. Server method. Get means getting the data. Means we want some get from the server. So suppose on this line, server request is there. So for this request, execution will be stop. It will wait for the response. Now, write down next. Maybe response will take, maybe, maybe response will take, maybe response will take, response will take too much time. Maybe response will take too much time. Maybe response will take too much time.
Yes, sir. Next, sir.
Just 1 second. Yeah. Now write that how to resolve the issue. Give the heading how to resolve the issue. Because here server it thread get a stop, response is also getting delay. So how we will resolve that issue?
With the help of observable.
Yeah. So write down that we will, sorry, don't write we will, write there http http bill http bill set an observable. http bill set an observable. http bill set an observable. Full stop. It will, it will, it will observe, it will observe our, it will observe our each request and response. Each request and response. Each request and response. Full stop. Now it going to observe that. Okay. So how we was receiving that observable means how we was receiving that response with the help of which one? Subscribe method. Correct. So write down for using that observable, for using that observable, for using that observable, for using that observable, we using, we using, we using subscribe method. For using that observable, we using subscribe method. We using subscribe method. Full stop. With subscribe method, with subscribe method, with subscribe method, observable will provide response. With subscribe method, observable will provide response. With subscribe method, observable will provide response. Next line. Due to this, due to this, due to this component, component method there itself. Due to this component method, component method. Who had used this? Due to this component method, who had used this? Who had used this? That will not stop code. That will not stop code execution. That will not stop code execution. That will not stop code execution. Next line. We have to must use subscribe. We have to must use subscribe in component. We have to must use subscribe in component if we want observable. If we want observable. If we want observable. Write down below overall conclusion. Give heading overall conclusion. Write down in overall observable bill monitor the request and response. Observable bill monitor the request and response between the application and server. Between the application and server. Between the application and server. Full stop. And it will get the response. It will get the response and provide the response. Provide the response in the code with subscribe method. With subscribe method. Got it? Now, next. So why be using subscribe? For getting the response. If you want, you can note down, but already we had written. Subscribe be using for getting a response. Subscribe be using for getting a response from the observable. Subscribe be using for getting response from the observable and provide it in the code. Provide to the code. Clear? Write down something more regarding that observable. Give point by point. Write down first. Observable belong to RxJS library. RxJS. Wait. RxJS. This one I written here. Observable belongs to RxJS library. We send and receive data over HTTP. We sending data be sending and receiving data, be sending and receiving data over HTTP, be sending and receiving data over HTTP, be sending and receiving data over HTTP. Next line. Observable is a class. Observable is a class. Observable is a class of RxJS. Observable is a class of RxJS library. RxJS library. RxJS is RxJS is ReactiveX. RxJS is ReactiveX. Just 1 second. RxJS. Reactive extension. You can write down this. RxJS is reactive extension for JavaScript. RxJS is reactive extension from JS for JS. Okay, so reactive extension for JS. Simply you can tell RxJS, that's enough. But for understanding what is RxJS full form, you can keep mind. So reactive extension for JavaScript that performs reactive programming. That perform reactive programming. Reactive programming. Reactive programming. Some of the method. Next line. Some method of observable class are. Some method of observable class are. You can give some method, like first method you can give subscribe. Second, map. map. Next, merge map. merge. Merge map. What you given? Subscribe, map, merge map, give switch map, debounce time, debounce time, DEBOUNCE time, TIME, debounce time. Next, op, OAP. Next, op, OAP. Next, retry. Next, catch, throw, etc. Catch, throw, etc. Completed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now see how we will now what we understand that what is RxJX library means we got some idea what is RxJX. Second, we understand what is observable, what is subscribe, what are the some method of observable, how observable, why be using observable? Because without observable also the programming is working. But why be using the observable? Okay, we understand that due to observable, the on server request and response, what it is doing, it not letting you that to stop the thread. It continue performing their action. But if some delay is there or something problem, some network issue, some blockage is there, so in that situation, due to observable, your thread will continue work. It will not stop for your means response. It will continue. Okay, and after some time, once the response will come, it will intimate you, means with the help of the observable. And in observable, what we are doing, how we are using observable, with the help of HTTP. Correct, we are using observable with the help of HTTP. So all you can tell that HTTP, observable, these all are playing the role for that server request. Next, how we will use the observe means RxJX library. Okay, so write down the steps how we will use RxJS library. So for the RxJS library, we have to install RxJS. Okay, how to install RxJS? Give the command npm install RxJS. This command we have to give. For installing RxJS library, we have to give the command npm install RxJS. And after installation means just give the command. No need to write that after installation and that thing. Just give the command npm install RxJS. If you want, you can write down like that. After installation, we will verify in. After installation, we will verify in. Now see, once we be installing any package, where we are verifying whether that is get installed or not. How we getting that? Suppose we installing Bootstrap. So how we will verify that whether it
inside
get installed? Yeah,
package.json.
correct. So in package.json, we will check whether it is available or not. So now see, let's check in the package.json and see that whether RxJS is there or not. So now you can observe here, RxJS is there. Correct. It means, and when it had installed, see, you can getting that with the help of git lens, we are getting you 6 months ago. Getting or not? It means we had installed this when before 6 months. In the sense, when we had created the project, and when we had created this particular project, now see you here, 20th February 2022. Means during a starting itself, we had installed. It's giving time everything 6:49 p.m. Okay, it means that I had installed this approx that time. So now if it is available here, then what is the need of install? Got it? So there is no need of install because this is already available in our project. So you can also check, you will also get, because in Angular, when we using npm install means complete new project, ng new or whatever project name, when we are passing this command, that time itself RxJS getting installed with Angular without any separate installation. Got it? No need to install RxJS separately. You will get automatic. Clear? So, but that command is there. If you not getting, suppose that, then you can install with the help of that command. Now, how we will use observable? So now see, go to your server page. Means we will go on the service page. And how we will use observable? So suppose on each method, what we had learned, on each request means each method, server method is there. On that, we will write observable, and it will check what it will do. It will do that each request and a response. It will monitor that on each request and response. So we will pass here in the type section. We will write here colon. And now one thing. Now we are not passing any observable, but then also we are using that subscribe method. Correct or not? We are not passing, then also we are using subscribe method. It means if we are not passing, but who is implementing the observable method? HTTP. Correct? With the help of HTTP, we are getting that. So it is not compulsory to pass observable. It will work without passing also. But this subscribe will only work when we are means for receiving the response. So if you want to pass, then how we will pass? It will better practice if we are passing observable. So let's pass observable. So where? On this server method, means on this method, observable, OBSER. So see here, you will get capital letter of O. Now click and see. Once you, yeah, once we passing that observable, you will get that method imported from the RxJS library. Previously, in all the method, you can check that it is imported from @Angular, @Angular, but this one is importing from the RxJS. Got it? And here you can pass inside observable. Give slash, you will get here also OB observable. Like that also, if you want, you can pass. Is this correct? Let me put cursor. Modular imported
No, sir, it's
invalid.
not.
One second. I think then it's not required. Without that also it will work. But let's try 1 second. I think this one. Without that itself means say on that package. Okay. So now we getting error here. So we have to give that. What is the type of this observable? Means data type. So we can pass here like this bracket and pass any. What happened? What is the error? Yeah, now it gone. Okay. So now it given that our type is any. Suppose if you creating any model in the sense you passing some data, okay, and you making some means like name, password, email ID, and you passing data. Name will be a string type, password will be also a string, mobile number type. So that model means like suppose email detail or some class name. So you can pass here like suppose that registration, registration. So like this type also we can pass, and this will consider our data model what we had designed. We will see that. Okay. So meanwhile, if we have no idea, let it to be any. That's enough. So what we done here, we had pass observable. How we passing observable? So we passing colon and then we passing the observable. And here we are passing that a type, which type data is there. Clear? So this way we can pass the observable. See that observable and type is there. So we can pass that observable and then we are using the subscribe method. We are using the subscribe method. Clear? Up to here, anyone having issue? Tell me. There is no use because already we are using, but we have no idea why we using subscribe, what is observable. But now what we done, we got the idea that why we had used subscribe here and why we writing the observable. What is the need? Got it? Means we was using, but we not having the idea. Now we got that proper explanation that why we using the observable and subscribe method. Because from past days we was getting the word observable, but we have no idea why we using observable. So observable will monitor the each request and response, and it belonging to which one? Reactive programming. When you explaining in the interview, you have to explain like that actually, that this is belonging to the reactive programming, and reactive programming means asynchronous. Okay, and asynchronous means thread will not stop, parallel execution will be there. means multiple program, multiple event will be execute in the parallelly. Okay, there is a stream of that data. A stream of data means continue you are throwing the data, like what means broadcasting, like we are getting videos on the, suppose you have the YouTube channel, or let it to be YouTube channel, just to go to the TV channel. What we are getting, we getting the continue the video, means it telecasting continue you getting the video, means data stream is there, means a streaming of the data, continue data is coming, like that actually. Okay, so this way we can use that subscribe method, observable. So there are different method for this actually. What we are doing, we are getting that, here we are getting http dot get method. Okay, we will get the another method, different method is there, get, post, put, delete. We will see those all. Clear in this one? Having any doubt, tell me.
Sir, one doubt. It will be
Yeah,
compulsory observable writing in their means
yeah.
writing in method.
So see, it will be optional when we not passing any specific type of the data. Okay, suppose we are creating one model in the sense, I will just create random here, export. Suppose that we have a book data. Suppose we have one sample like this way. Just 1 second. Okay, and now we creating some sample data here, like ID colon MBER number, not this semicolon. Yeah, and name colon string. Okay, what we done, we created one sample data, that our data will be in this format. The ID will be number, name will be a string. So in this case, we have to pass here observable. What is that class name? Book. We will pass here book. Some error is there. Okay, that we will resolve later also. But this way actually we have to pass. Got it? Let it to be that error also. What it giving? A function which declare type is neither void nor 1 second. Let me check the error. What is giving? Type observable is not assignable. Type observable book. The object is type is assignable for a view other. Did you mean to use any type instead? Type object is missing following properties for book. Okay, got it. Because we had be using here ID and be using name, but here in this method we are not using that one actually. That's why it's telling book ID is missing. See, but anyway, we have to pass like this type. So previously we have no any idea regarding the type. What we was giving? We was giving any, correct? But once we got that idea, so what we are giving? We giving our type. Means our type means which one? This one. Here we are getting multiple data type. ID is the name type, number type, name is the string type. So what we are doing? We are passing that a specific data. Got Praful? Like this type, we have to create one model. This is a model actually, and we have to create the model. And on this model basis, what we have to do? We have to pass here type. Otherwise, we can pass any if we don't know. If we have no any model, we have no idea, then we can pass directly any. Clear something or not?
Yeah, sir. But HTTP is there, so that time not compulsory observable, right?
No, it is compulsory. You can pass, but suppose if we not passing a specific type, okay, type means book having ID number. Everyone have a separate type. So it will suggest you when you be using that, like be using this book. Then what will happen when you will start method, and when you using that, suppose ID, you have to print that ID or you have to pass argument. So you will get automatic the suggestion, like you can pass only number or only a string. If you will pass, suppose a number, ID is number type, correct? And if we will take a string value, okay, like ID equal to double quote then something, suppose be taking like this type, it will give you error that ID can't assign, number can't assign to the string, like that type you will get error because this is type number. But what we passing, we are passing a string. So what is the help of a model? When we creating any model, it will suggest you that what you had taken, and this will not suggest to you only. Suppose you are working in a group, means in a team, so each member will get the suggestion that ID you have to take number, you can't take a string. Got it? That will be strictly check. TypeScript, we are using TypeScript. TypeScript means a strictly type. Okay, any. Suppose that be taking any means what? We are not checking. We are not telling that what is the strict means type. Any means randomly everything is there.
Generally,
Correct. It's general. Nothing is there. But when we want it should be number only. So what we can do? We have to tell that this should be number type only. You can't pass any data. Got it? That's why actually. Clear somewhat or not? Actually, when you will do project side, na, when you
Yes, sir.
will work on some mini project, if you will use these all things, then you will creating model, these all things. It will give you hint. It actually it will help a lot when you creating model. It will help you a lot because as you will create a model, you will use this method. It will give you suggestion that you have to take. Previously, I think we had done this one. I think in some previous get method was there. Na? That day I think I had done. We had
Yes, sir.
created.
Means one. Yes, sir. One TS space created and import
Yeah,
in component.tsp.
yeah, correct. That one itself. And we was getting suggestion there directly that you can't use this one, like that type. So that going to help, and that's why we can pass here in this type observable side. Let's remove this one. Now we not means we have no anything, pass any. That's it. Okay. So give next heading. It also belonging to this observable itself. But now we will go with the observable and promise. Just wait. I telling you that heading. We will cover this two topic actually today. Yeah. Now give the heading of promise and observable. Just this is a small topic. Give the heading promise and observable. Now see, keep in mind clearly, okay? You will get more and more idea. It's become easy actually. Now give for promise. Give heading promise. Write down that. It's all our theory type actually. promise. Write down. It work with asynchronous operation. 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 They either return. They either return. What it will return? We had already seen in the JavaScript. Promise. Anyone?
Sir, it
Promise.
will return result and reject.
Yeah. So it will return either result or either means error message. Reject. Okay. So write down what we had written. It work with asynchronous operation and they will either return a single value, that is promise resolve, that is resolve, that is resolve, or error message, that is rejected. That is rejected. Means what happened? It returning you two value, either either resolve or reject. Okay, whether interviewer going to ask you in the JavaScript question or Angular, answer will be same. There is no any discrimination between the Angular side of answer or JavaScript. All is same. So promise this will be second line. If and one thing, just now we seen regarding the observable. What type of that is? Asynchronous or synchronous? Observable?
Asynchronous.
Asynchronous. It means that we can tell that observable and promise both are same or different.
Both are same.
Both are
Same.
same because both are working on asynchronous operation itself. But sure, there are something. That's why. So next line. If promise request. Okay, one thing. Suppose that we had initiated some task, means we had done some task and a promise get started. What should be there? Promise we can cancel. It will give you success, error. What should be the possibility?
Resolve.
Means it should be only two possibility, either success or error. Means in the middle nothing is there. Okay, but in the case of observable, multiple option is there. We will see that. Okay, so write down. If promise request, if promise request, if promise request initiated, 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 INITIATED. If promise request initiated from a promise, if promise request initiated from a promise, then it can't be cancelled. Then it can't be cancelled. It can't be cancelled. Write down in bracket something exception type. Exception, but there are some library, but there are some library in JavaScript. One second, sorry, not in JavaScript. Let it to be. But there are some library who allow us, who allow us. There are some library who allow us to cancel. Who allow us to cancel. But JavaScript, but JavaScript native promise, but JavaScript native promise implementation, but JavaScript native promise implementation
Sir, what is native promise, sir?
Native means हाँ शिवानी
बट जावास्क्रिप्ट के बाद
या native 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 promise implementation. Native means on our like that, like your native location. But JavaScript native promise implementation does not allow for that does not allow for that. This is comes under exception. What we are telling, promise can't be cancelled. It will give you only two things. Either
it does
result
not
allow for that, does not allow for that. Means native promise implementation will not cancel. But some libraries there who can cancel that one. But these are exception. Okay, that's why we had written on the top itself exception. So promise will give you only two things, either request, sorry, either result or error. Means there is no any third thing. You can't cancel the promise. Next, give heading problems of promise. So see, observable and promise both are asynchronous. Okay, but what is difference between that? So in observable, what we are doing, we are tracking each request and response of the server. Promise observable can be cancelled. Okay, observable we can cancel, but in promise we can't cancel. So write down that. 1 second. Write down that problems of a promise. How to cancel the request of API, request to API? How to
Sir, this is topic, yeah.
no like a point. No
Okay.
problems of promise. Give some point question. Got it? Means problems of promise is the top heading, and below some questions will be there. How to cancel the request to API? How to cancel request to API? Second question you want right there. How to retry? How to retry? How to retry a failed call? Means reject. Suppose you had sent the request, but server due to some network issue, your request got means failed, not rejected, failed. Then how you can retry? How you can send again? Means how to retry a failed call? Retry a failed call. Write down that below. Give heading. For solving for solving above promise issue. For solving above promise issue. For solving above promise issue. For solving above promise issue, we can go with the observable. We can go with the observable. We can go with the observable. So already we know that. What is observable? So observable means a streaming of the data. Okay, so write down that below. 1 second. Okay, write down. Give the heading of the how for solving what we had written the heading.
For solving above promise issue, we can go with the observable.
Okay, fine. Give the point. Note means a point by point. Observable. Write down that. Observable. What we had written there, observable definition. Read that one, please. So we can write the same definition here also. Had we written
Ob-
anything there?
Observable is a
Observable will
class.
monitor. Observer will monitor the request and response between the application and server, and it will get the response and provide the response in the code with subscribe method.
Okay, that is complete means 1 second. Okay, write down. That's fine. So observable actually they that streaming the data. Okay, already we had written there in reactive program. So observable is an array. Observable is an array. Observable is an array or observable is an array or sequence of event sequence of event sequence of event over time over time. Same thing whatever we had written there, it also explaining same means multiple event is happening over the sequence of time, but it not stopping, it continue going on. Okay, next in that it has at least it has at least it has at least two participants. It has at least two participants. Two participants. One is first creator. First creator within bracket data source. Data source. Second creator. Second is subscriber. First creator. Second is subscriber. Second is subscriber. So in second, write down in the bracket there itself subscriber, and after that subscription dash dash where data is being consumed. Where data is being consumed. Where data is being consumed. Where
Sir,
data is.
sir
Yeah.
again, after subscribe, sir.
Okay, subscriber within bracket subscription dash hyphen where where data is where data is being being consumed. Where data is being consumed. Where data is being consumed. Completed.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now just understand these two. What means that observable is an array sequence of data, that's fine. It is throwing the data continue, it's not waiting for response, or it had sent the data, whether it got success, fail, it not going to worry. It continuously throwing the data. Like suppose you are watching on the TV, continuously data is streaming, it broadcasting the channel, but maybe you have network issue, you will not receive the signal. But what is happening? Continue. The serial is going on. Movie is going on. It's not waiting that you had not received, so I will wait. No, continue going on. So like that, observable is also working. It continuously throwing that data. It continuously streaming the data. It will not wait whether you had received or not. Got it? Maybe you will receive, maybe it will fail, maybe some other will receive, like that. So like that itself. So here two word we had used. One is creator, one is subscriber. Now tell me, if we will go with our code, just imagine YouTube channel. Somebody is creating the video, they uploading the video, they become the creator. Suppose you are subscriber, what will happen? You will get the notification that some new video got added in the playlist. But suppose that you are not the subscriber, but suppose you are not the subscriber, but video got uploaded. Now whether you will get intimation or not, you will
Not
not get,
we.
you will not
Yes.
get intimation because you are not subscriber. But what happened in the video side? They had uploaded that or not? They had uploaded, but you had
Yes.
not got that information because you are not subscriber. Means one side creator is there, one side you are as a subscriber. You will get only when you subscribing, but creator is doing their work. Same type in our code side. See this method. This method we are doing some server side activity. Here we are sending up to this line, means up to get data by ID dot value, whatever we had written up to
Creator
here.
code.
It is creator. It is sending that. It is sending that data. Means we want some data. It going to the service. It taking this method and it returning also. It will return that value also. Means now the subscriber role is coming. Video got uploaded. It added in the playlist, but you are receiving or not, that is now depending on your side. So if suppose you are subscribing, if you are subscriber, you will get that. If you are not subscriber, you will not get response. Same thing we had written here. Clear or having doubt?
Sir, for
Okay.
me clear, sir. No issue, sir.
Praful, Shivani, any doubt? So why be telling that up to here only this is creator? Because
Because before
yeah,
subscription.
yeah, because before subscription we had called this is service method get data by ID. It is available in the service. You can see that this line of code is there. Okay, we are we are using this method because this is available in the here and this is server side. Okay, so once it will give, it will, we are sending the request, and once they will get the request, means they will get that request, and after getting request, they will return the response, whatever response it got, it going to return this one. So once they will return, what happened? It going to subscribe that one, and if we had subscribed, we will get the data. Otherwise, we will not get the data. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Write down
Could
there
you
itself. In that, yeah,
sir, could you please give permission for grab the dinner, sir?
yeah, just two lines. That's it.
Okay, okay,
Just
okay.
2 minutes.
Continue, sir.
Write down next line. Observable in the same continue. We will write. Observable can be cancelled. In promise we had written promise can't be cancelled. Observable we will cancel. Write down observable can be cancelled. So now the problem of a cancel, it got resolved. Got it? In promise we can't, but in observable we can cancel that. So observable can be cancelled. Next line. RxJS implements RxJS implements idea of promise. RxJS implements idea of promise, comma, callback, callback, comma, data flow, data flow, make easier, make easier. RxJS implements idea of promise, callback, that makes data flow makes easier. Okay, means with the help of RxJX, we got we can use the implementation of promise, callback, observable, these all, and this is going to help in the data flow. Okay, next line. Observable can use observable can use observable can use operator like observable can use operator like retry and how we will write, let's see. retry, give parenthesis because this is a method. Okay, retry comma comma retry 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 when retry when comma delay comma delay retry comma delay comma retry when comma dot etc, etc. So means we have a different methods who will, suppose your data, you had sent the request, but suppose due to network issue it got a delay, it got a breakdown. So what you can do, you can retry with the help of retry method. Okay, so this type you can retry, you can, means if you had cancelled that, you can again retry that, you can cancel that. How we can cancel? With the help of the different method. Means there it getting only two option, either success or reject, you can't cancel, but here we can do all the activity. Observable can cancel. Write down that how we can. And one more bit. Mhm. Yeah, so write down there itself how we will cancel the observable. Means write down the questions, how to cancel how to cancel how to cancel observable. See, actually in interview they are asking this point, how to cancel observable. It's very simple, but they are asking this point because they will not tell that how to cancel subscribe. They will not tell this one. They will tell how to cancel observable, because in promise it will not cancel. You can't cancel that, but in observable you can cancel. But how you will cancel? So how you by subscribing observable? How you be by getting that observable value? How? With the help of which method? How we was getting subscribe, how we was receiving that subscribe method, means observable value. No idea.
Subscribe method.
Subscribe method. So with the help of subscribe method, we was getting the observable value. So what should be opposite of subscribe? That will be unsubscribe. So there is unsubscribe method. Okay, that going to cancel that subscription. Write down that how to cancel observable. So with the help of unsubscribe, with the help of unsubscribe, we can cancel the observable. That is just one line, that's it. But how we will do that? With the help of that one. Just 1 second. Oh, 1 second. Get all data.
फिर अभी कितना बचा हुआ है?
नहीं हो गया, क्यों? बुक लग गया क्या?
थक गए लिखते लिखते।
यही लेकिन सबसे अच्छा टेक्निक है। बहुत सबको मैं बोलता हूँ नोट बनाइए, लेकिन
7
कोई नहीं
पेज हो गया।
कितना पेज हो गया?
7 पेज।
ओ माय गॉड, कॉपी खत्म हो गया। हो गया नहीं है ज्यादा। तो जस्ट वो अनसब्सक्राइब का लिख लीजिए, वो काफी है। जस्ट 1 मिनट, इसमें और कुछ डिफरेंस है क्या? ईगर एग्जीक्यूशन की जरूरत नहीं है, रन टाइम एग्जीक्यूशन भी हटाइए, ये क्या इंटरपोरेबिलिटी नहीं जरूरत है, फाइनल थॉट रख दीजिए। चलिए, तो अभी हम लोग का क्या हो गया, वी कवर्ड कंप्लीटली ऑब्जर्वेबल, सब्सक्राइब मेथड, प्रॉमिस, दीज ऑल थिंग्स। ओके, नाउ दैट्स एनफ फॉर टुडे।